About 45 minutes ago, maybe 50 minutes ago, shots actually rang out here in George Floyd Square. Things have kind of gotten back to normal. As you can see behind me, people are starting to filter back into this memorial known as George Floyd Square. Some businesses in Kenosha have had boards on their windows and doors since August, while others, like Frank's Diner here, put their boards back on their windows on Monday in anticipation of the decision in the Jacob Blake case. Just before jurors entered the courtroom to announce their verdict, Kyle Rittenhouse sat at the defense table, visibly nervous and anxious. Just 3 rows behind him sat his mom and 2 sisters who were all crying. But that all changed just minutes later. All of the entrances to the state capitol here in Madison have been blocked off Sunday. Behind those barricades stand law enforcement and armored trucks just in case of potential armed protests here at the Capitol. There's at least 6 inches of snow out here, and there's a lot. If you have snow on your car and you need to get somewhere today, there is a lot of snow on these cars. I mean, you're going to be brushing for quite a while, so give yourself a little bit of extra time. That car crash and shooting happened just a block up from where we're standing on 27th Street. I had a chance to speak with some neighbors who live in this area who say they're actually used to some of this more increased police presence in their neighborhood. On Friday, Alex Hook was at recess here at Riverview School in Silver Lake when he was hit in the head with a flying piece of metal. That metal came from a lawnmower that was being used to cut the grass in the center median of the roadway in front of the school. Even though school supplies have been on the shelves for the last month or so, many families might feel that the new school year really kind of snuck up on them. That's why a lot of families used this last weekend before classes start to get some last-minute items. There have been so many people here all throughout the day. There have been musical performances, speeches. The group Sounds of Blackness performed on a stage just behind me, and now there's been kind of a candlelight vigil just off to my left in what's considered George Floyd Square. It's all part of what the George Floyd family calls a celebration. Paris Stevens says the past year has been incredibly difficult.
We'll never forget what happened. It's been overwhelming. This whole year has been a whirlwind.
She's George Floyd's cousin. She's also the co-chair of the George Floyd Global Memorial. It's the organization that put together an event called Rise and Remember. It was a celebration at the intersection of 38th Street and Chicago Avenue in Minneapolis, where George Floyd was killed a year ago.
This today is about celebration of life. We want to celebrate Perry. We want to celebrate those that have lost their lives, but we also want to celebrate each other.
From live music performances and speeches to a candlelight vigil to end the night, hundreds of people made their way to George Floyd Square to do just that.
It's been amazing. We've had the support of the whole world, but this community has always been here. It's always kept this place sacred and fighting for the streets.
Stevens says a lot of work still has to be done.
We've been here for over 400 years. Things are not going to change overnight. It's not. But as long as you have a heartbeat, change can happen.
A big part of that work is urging U.S. senators to, as she said, walk the walk.
First of all, we need to pass that Police Reform Act.
But she said the past year has shown her it's possible, even though it's been tough.
We know that change has come, and it gives us hope. It's hope for the community. It's hope for all. Now, this time last year, emotions were running high. There was a lot of unrest, both in Minneapolis and across the country. But as you heard George Floyd's cousin there say, there is a sign of optimism this evening. Reporting live in Minneapolis, Andrew Havranek. Both Milwaukee mayoral candidates believe they bring something different to City Hall. For Cavalier Johnson, he says his experience growing up in what he called a depressed neighborhood will help him, while on the other hand, Bob Donovan says his experience in elected office will help him get more things done. A big part of Tuesday night was spent discussing how to make Milwaukee safer. That includes addressing the rise in homicide rates, car thefts, and reckless driving.
In the first 2 years that I am mayor, we'll be laying the foundation and building upon that foundation to make a city that is stronger, that is safer, and that's more prosperous for everybody who lives here.
Stolen vehicles are nothing new to this community. What is new is how bad things have gotten over the last 2 years.
Both candidates say police need to have more resources to fix the issues.
Our police department has been gutted, and they simply cannot keep up.
But funding the police led to more heated discussion between the two candidates.
I voted for budgets that actually work. My opponent, Bob, put forward budget amendments that could not even be sustained.
I will tell you, Cavalier, that's a good one. Your nose is growing, and you're misleading the public intentionally.
The two candidates also discussed how they would attract businesses to the city and deal with the financial crisis Milwaukee faces.
The city of Milwaukee is in a very trying position fiscally. And as was mentioned, we certainly do need new partnerships with the state of Wisconsin in order to solve our long-term fiscal problems.
And while their approaches may be different, both candidates believe they are the one who can move the city forward.
Do we continue down the same old path, electing, in my opinion, more of the same kinds of people that got us into this mess in the first place? Or do we go in a different direction, a better direction?
I can work with all parts of our community, no matter where you live, no matter what you look like, in order to get Milwaukee to the place that all of us need to go.
Both candidates said they felt good after the debate Tuesday night, saying that these forums help give voters all of the information they need to make a decision at the ballot box. Election day is April 5th. Reporting in the newsroom, Andrew Havranek, Spectrum News. Rehearsing with her fellow orchestra classmates. Is something Cecilia Santiago doesn't take for granted.
It's been very difficult. I think the community and the actual being in person part is such a big part of music.
The senior at Central High School in West Dallas is quickly closing in on her final opportunities to perform with her class before going off to college. COVID-19 made it hard for the past year and a half to practice and perform. Restrictions on group gatherings meant no concerts. Virtual school meant no in-person rehearsals. These musicians could only practice on their own, with no sort of showcase for their talents.
It can really feel like when you're not able to perform, that those hours don't really pay off because you're not really showing to anybody how much that really does pay off.
Santiago and her classmates aren't alone. Just down the road at Nathan Hale High School, the choir has been working hard all semester long.
All of these pieces are so beautiful, and I'm so excited to showcase them.
During virtual learning, it was nearly impossible to sing as a group. Omira O'Day said her choir director, Zachary Beeksma, had to change his approach to teaching the course. No longer was it learning how to perform songs, the students learned how music works.
I actually learned so much during the pandemic for music and music theory. So I think the pandemic, in this class at least, was a blessing because we learned so much.
And that, O'Day said, made her and her classmates better singers, individually and as a choir, when they had their first concert in 2 years before Christmas break.
Now that we're back, I'm so happy, and I've come out of the pandemic better.
And that is something Santiago says her fellow musicians, whether instrumentalists or vocalists, should be happy about.
I think we should all just be really proud of ourselves for getting through it as it is, but to be performing still at such a high level after all of this is really impressive.
Enjoying the live music in West Dallas, Andrew Havranek, Spectrum News. On Sunday afternoon, the Milwaukee Brewers won their first NL Central Division title since 2018. And the players say they were pumped to be able to win that division title in front of more than 43,000 fans at American Family Field. But as you can see behind me, the cleanup of those celebrations is already started. And so has the work for the Brewers' next goal. That goal is a World Series championship. Let's go Brewers! It's a moment Brewers fans won't forget. Josh Hader throwing the final pitch, getting the last out for an 8-4 victory over the New York Mets. clinching the National League Central Division title.
It was up in the air. It felt like it was up in the air for a little bit longer than I thought, but Yelly came down, and that's a special thing. It's get 3 outs and take the division is special.
The celebration started on the field, then went to the clubhouse where the champagne shower was shown on the Jumbotron in front of more than 43,000 fans.
Huge.
It's absolutely
huge for
huge.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. It's great.
Following that big Bucks championship, let's keep it rolling for the Brewers, baby.
We've been working for this for years and years, and it feels wonderful to be here to celebrate with them today.
The team agreed. Players wanted to celebrate with the fans who didn't get a chance to see them play in person at all just a year ago. They came back out onto the field after their Champagne Clubhouse celebration to continue the party with Milwaukee faithful. It's something Christian Yelich said means a lot to him.
It's awesome. Compared to last year, we made the playoffs, but we weren't allowed to do any of this stuff, and obviously there was no fans around, so it's pretty special this year. You definitely appreciate it each and every time you get the chance to do something like this, and hopefully it's the first of a few.
Their work isn't done yet. In fact, it's just beginning, but this team believes it has what it takes to make it all the way.
This team's special, man. I think the biggest thing is that we always have each other's backs, and we play as hard as we can all 9 innings, and we never give up.
Well, we've won a lot of games, and I mean that's you get 10 teams make the playoffs, 6 teams win divisions. It's not easy to get in the playoffs in baseball, and to win a division's not easy. You win a division, you're a special team.
Monday is an off day, but it's not time for the postseason just yet. There's still an entire week of ball to be played. So how will the team approach this week? Who will rest up?
Give me a day, all right?
We'll see you back at the ballpark in October for the divisional series. Reporting from American Family Field, Andrew Havranek, Spectrum News.
I'm doing great. First off, it has been incredible down here in the Deer District. Just minutes before this game ended, it was tense. But now, as I said, it has been absolutely incredible. I'll let you get a view of this. But as I was saying, it is absolutely a party out here in the Deer District. These fans are chanting Bucks in 6, and that came true.
I just want to say I really love Milwaukee, and this is a great game, and let's go Bucks and only fans! Woo!
Let's go Bucks. As I said, incredible atmosphere down here. It was on edge a little bit toward the end of that game, but as soon as it was for sure that the Bucks were going to win, this turned into a party. There are people that have climbed up onto light poles down here. The fireworks you may have seen being lit from the top of Fiserv Forum just adds to this incredible atmosphere that the city of Milwaukee has waited for 50 years. And tonight, they finally get to celebrate that, Jason.